Well, good evening, everybody. This is the Town of Hempstead's Town Board meeting for February 2nd, 2021. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Here.
Councilman Carini.
Aye. Here.
Councilman D'Esposito.
I'm here.
Councilman Dunn.
Here.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby. Here. Councilman Muscarella.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Councilman Muscarellas to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, hand over the heart. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Because of the governor's executive orders and also because of the COVID-19 pandemic, tonight's public hearings will allow for both in-person participation and telephonic participation using the GoToWebinar. The instructions for the telephonic participation using the GoToWebinar, as well as the pertinent documents regarding tonight's public hearings, are on the town's website. After the clerk calls each of the public hearings, the public who are at Town Hall will first make their comments, and then participants on the GoToWebinar will be allowed to comment. All participants on the GoToWebinar must pay attention in case you are called when the case is called by the town clerk. When the public hearing is called and where you wish to speak, you must raise your hand at the raise your hand button at the website. If you do not click the raise your hand button, our esteemed moderator will not recognize you in the public hearing you wish to be called on, then you will not be called. All participants in the GoToWebinar will be muted until the moderator calls your name to speak. You must pay attention for your name to speak, and when your name is called by the moderator, please do us a favor, just turn down the volume on your computer or device, whatever you're looking. If you're participating in the GoToWebinar and watching the live stream, then you must mute. As I said, each participant will be given one chance to speak for up to 3 minutes in accordance with the town board rules. When you are done speaking or your time is up, the moderator will again mute you on the GoToWebinar. At the end of the public hearing portion, GoToWebinar will be turned off, and I encourage all those using the GoToWebinar to continue listening and watching the meeting on the town's live stream webpage. Please also note that anyone using profanity or straying off topic will be muted by our moderator. Madam Clerk, would you please call the very first public hearing of tonight?
We have our proposed local law regarding regulations and restrictions to limit parking in Point Lookout and North Valley Stream.
Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard on this item? Okay, and not, is there anyone here at Town Hall that wishes to be heard on this item? Patrick? Okay, great. If you are participating in the GoToWebinar, now is that chance to click your raise the button, raise your hand to talk about this item. Mr. Moderator.
Supervisor, no participant clicked raise your hand on this public hearing.
Okay, may I please have a motion?
I move that the public hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yay.
Someone's got to be different. Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please call the next item?
We have a proposed local law regarding parking or standing prohibitions in Baldwin, Point Lookout, and Uniondale.
Does any member of the board wish to be heard on this item? Okay, is there anyone here at Town Hall that wishes to be heard on item number 2? I do not have anybody. Nope, okay. Now's the chance, if you're participating in the GoToWebinar, to please click the raise your hand button as described in the instructions on the website. And now I will ask our esteemed moderator to let us know the answer.
Supervisor, no participant clicked raise your hand on this public hearing.
Fantastic. May I please have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, please call the next public hearing.
We have a proposed local law regarding arterial stops in Elmont, Franklin Square, Oceanside, and Uniondale. Okay,
anybody on the board wish to be heard in this matter? If not, if there's anybody here at Town Hall that wishes to be heard on item number 3? Okay, and now we'll go to the GoToWebinar portion of the program where you get to raise your hand if you would like to have a statement on number 3, and I'll ask our esteemed moderator to let us know.
Supervisor, no participant clicked raise your hand on this public hearing.
Okay, may I please have a motion?
I move to close and adopt this item.
Second.
Second motion.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please call The next item.
We have a proposed local law regarding traffic regulations in the vicinity of schools in Franklin Square and Oceanside.
Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard on this? If not, is there any member of the public that wishes to be heard on item number 4? Okay, and now is the participation time at the go-to webinar where you get to click the raise your hand button, and I will respectfully ask our moderator if anybody has pressed that button.
Supervisor, no participant clicked raise your hand on this public hearing.
Okay, I'm going to please ask that somebody make a motion.
I move that the hearing be closed and the local law adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman.
Aye.
Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Aye.
Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the next item?
We have a proposal to review the recommendation of the Town of Hempstead Landmarks Preservation Commission that 3171 Elm Place in Wanto, New York, be designated a historic landmark.
Okay, I know we had one member of the public who signed in to speak about this. Good evening, how are you? I'm going to respectfully ask you to just give your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name's Heather Familetti, and I live at 2179 Jones Avenue, Wantaw.
Hi.
I'm here on behalf of the residents of Wantaw to tell you that the home that stands at 3171 Elm Place is rich in local history and is architecturally significant to the town of Hempstead. It's an English colonial revival built in 1925 and designed by H.T. Jeffrey Jr., the architect who designed homes in Adderley Park, known as the African-American Gold Coast, 49 of which are now landmarked by the City of New York. All 3 families that lived at 3171 Elm Place are an important part of Wantaw history and were intricately involved in the shaping of the community for the past 100 years. The Van Tiles, the Verities, the Motchweilers, all owning businesses in Wantaw for over 50 years each serving their community through volunteerism and philanthropy. The home was built by a World War I pilot that taught Leroy Grumman to fly and is a World War II Gold Star home after Richard Van Tile made the ultimate sacrifice. Support from the Wantaw community has been tremendous. We were able to obtain 200 petition signatures to landmark the house and would have had hundreds more if it wasn't for the restraints of COVID. At every door I knocked on, I was met with an eagerness to save this piece of Wantaw history. We received over 60 letters from neighbors in favor of the preservation of the home. We had backing by the Wantaw Preservation Society, the Wantaw Chamber of American Legion, Chapter of American Legion, the Wantaw Seaford Homeowners Association, the Van Tile family, and Nassau County Legislator Steve Rhodes. Architectural historian Paul Daly examined the house and wrote a report in favor of landmarking the English colonial revival home. The house was legally compared to other landmarked homes in the town of Hempstead and rose above standards held by a number of homes currently preserved. The Wantaw community hopes that you will agree with the Town of Hempstead Landmark Preservation Commission's unanimous decision to preserve this distinguished home at 3171 Elm Place. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for coming in this evening, and appreciate your support and your words of encouragement, as well as working with our Landmark Commission. It's a great group. It's even nicer when the residents work together. And I know Councilman has been very, very supportive of everything. Anything you want to add?
I want to say that, first off, I am proud to be, soon to be casting my vote, passing legislation designating 3171 Elm Place a historic landmark. This change in status follows a recommendation made by the town's Landmark Preservation Commission. The landmark status be assigned this property, a decision that was met overwhelmingly with support from the public. I've spoke to many residents throughout the area of Wantaw, and it was overwhelming support. My office probably dealt with dozens and dozens of residents that I spoke to. As a former civic leader for the area, I've always supported preservation efforts seeking to maintain the historic landscape of our suburban community. I want to thank my Hempstead town neighbors for their advocacy leading up to this moment, and it's an honor to join in helping preserve a piece of Wantaght's history. So thank you for your efforts. It's much appreciated. I'm looking forward to casting my vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Drive home safely tonight. It's getting a little cold out there.
You
All right?
too. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, does any member of the board wish to be heard on this item? Okay, I know we did that. I know we had one member of the public. Was there anybody else in the public here tonight wishing
Dennis,
to be
you
heard on
want to
this?
say something?
Is my muted? Trump. Dennis, did you want to add anything? I'm sorry.
I just concur with everything that Councilmember Carini said, and he's done a great job. Thank you, Councilman Chris Carini. And I'd like to join you in seconding the motion for this.
Okay, we're going to hold off on that for Dennis. I'm going to hold you to that because we're just going to check if there's anyone in the go-to portion of the webinar that's raising their hand.
Yes.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes, Supervisor. The first person is Paul Van Wee. Paul, if you want to please go ahead with your comments, you are live.
Mr. Van Wee, how are you this evening? Paul? Paul, you there? Want to try him again?
Paul, go ahead with your comments. You are unmuted on our end.
Great.
There you go, Paul.
This is Paul Van Wy. I'm speaking in my capacity as the acting chair of the Town of Hempstead Landmarks Commission, and I would just like to say a few words on behalf of the Commission about the Van Tile House. Located at 3171 Elm Place in Wantagh, it was constructed almost a century ago in 1925. This home is a fine example of American colonial revival architecture, and while it is not a completely pristine specimen, it preserves the essential forms and attributes of this American style. Beginning in the second decade of the 20th century, there was a heightened interest in the 18th century colonial architectural heritage of the United States. A fine example of this original colonial heritage is our own Rock Hall in Lawrence, while another colonial revival example is Old Town Hall right here in Hempstead, constructed just 7 years before the Van Tile House. The Van Tile House is a 2 1/2 story structure exhibiting the graceful symmetry of the colonial revival style. With its sheltering portico, classical columns, and front door side lights, the design bespeaks a pride of craftsmanship and attention to detail. The home was constructed for a prominent local family, the Van Tiles, who owned a Wantagh lumber yard. The family was active in civic affairs and served in the World Wars. Indeed, Richard Van Tile gave his life for his country in 1944. In 1956, the Verity family, another old Town of Hempstead family, purchased the home, eventually selling it to the Machweiler family. At its December meeting, the Town Landmarks Preservation Commission voted unanimously to recommend that 3171 Elm Place be designated a town landmark. The commissioners based their recommendation on the fact that the Van Tile home is a fine and unusual example of its architectural type in the southeastern area of the town, that the home exemplifies the expansive suburban vision of the 1920s, and that the home has a long-standing connection with the development, civic life, and history of the Wantagh community in the 20th century. Thank you very much, Mr. Supervisor and board members.
Paul, thank you very much, and please pass on our gratitude to you and the entire commission for the great work. You're a wonderful advocate for historical preservation, and we really do appreciate the amazing job you do here for the town residents.
Mr. Supervisor, could I be heard?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm glad that this resolution is on for tonight because it reminded me that just a couple of days ago, a Town of Hempstead resident of great fame, Billy Hewlett, died. Billy's family was one of the founding fathers of Long Island, and basically Billy was very active in many civic associations, and their home that was preserved in Hewlett on East Rockaway Road, that home was conveyed to the school district, the Hewlett School District, and then basically the Hewlett School District conveyed it to the County of Nassau, where the county established the first breast cancer learning resource center in America and restored that particular residence, now called the Hewlett House, which has treated over 60,000 women in the town of Hempstead since it was initiated. So it just reminds me that these are really good things to do because we have such a rich heritage here on Long Island and in the town of Hempstead. And I was just reading the other night about the Battle of Long Island and the fact that after that battle, sometime after that, George Washington made the trip from Queens, what is now Queens, along Hempstead Turnpike and headed east. I think he got as far as Wantaw. So this is very fitting that we're doing it tonight, and I think it's great.
That's actually a great time. We're going to question you later on were you a history major in college? Because that was actually a great little history lesson.
It was
there.
my minor.
That very well done. And by the way, it all ties together. So you're absolutely right. Is there anybody else in the go-to webinar, Mr. Moderator?
Yes, Supervisor. The next participant is Mr. Joseph Bjarnson. I hope I said your last name correctly. Mr. Bjarnson, please go ahead with your comments.
Hello, thank you for your time. My name is Joseph Bjarnson. I'm a partner at the law firm of Son Ward, and I'm appearing on behalf of the owner of the property that is being referred to as a Van Tile home this evening. On behalf of the owner, I'd like to put the following points on the record in opposition to the recommendation for historic landmark designation. First, the owners appeared at 3 hearings before the Landmarks Preservation Committee, at which it has given extensive testimony, submitted an expert architecture report, which has found that there is 0 architectural significance in the property. The evidence shows that the existing home on the property has no architectural value or uniqueness. The owner's expert report detailed the lack of merit to the application for historic landmark designation. The original facade of the home is changed with the addition of a glass sunroom. The windows, roof, shutters, door, exterior railings, among other things, all consist of modern replacement materials, not in keeping with the historical features and materials the home may have had when it was originally constructed. Thus, the home has no actual historic or architectural value. The applicant's expert report says nothing about architectural value. The report simply states that the home is an example of colonial revival style. All homes exemplify some style. The fact that this home is designed to a certain style does not render it a historic landmark. The applicant's report offers nothing to explain the uniqueness or importance of this specific home's design or features. The fact is that nothing truly historic took place in the home. The fact that several families who ran local businesses, served the country, or owned homes over the years is noteworthy, but of no historic significance. Thousands of homes could tell similar stories of interesting or noteworthy or prominent local families who inhabited them over the years. It is not unique because the former owners ran a lumberyard, a barbershop, and an auto body shop. Additionally, since the owners already legally subdivided the property, landmarking the home therefore amounts to a taking of its property. Given the foregoing evidence weighing against a landmark designation, it is clear that the application is solely the result of the fact that the owner planned to develop the property with 2 new homes. Thus, it is a political reaction to a development plan that certain neighbors do not like. In sum, this is a political process designed to stop development. The home was never previously considered historic. The record shows that it's not eligible for inclusion on the state or national register, and until now, it was unknown to the Wantaw Preservation Society. The application was merely a reaction to the as-of-right legal subdivision and development of the property. The Landmarks Commission made no findings of any detail to explain how an ordinary residential home can suddenly become a historic landmark because it is remembered that the local barber and auto mechanic once lived in it. On this record, without any demonstration of a unique design or the special historic significance of the home is undeserving of a historic landmark designation. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. What's the address of the law firm? I just want to get it down for the record.
It is at 333 Earl Obington Boulevard, Uniondale, New York.
Okay, Uniondale, New York. Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Moderator, is there anybody else at the go-to webinar?
Supervisor, there is. The next participant is Joan Kemitzer. Joan Kemitzer, please go ahead with your comment.
Good evening, Ms. Kemetzer.
Ms. Kemetzer, you're muted on your side.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. How you doing?
Great. Okay, good.
Can we just get your name and address for the record?
Yes, my name is Joan Chemnitzer. I live at 3162 Hickory Street in Wantagh. And on August 13th, 2020, I filed an application for a landmark designation to the Town of Hempstead Landmarks Preservation Commission for the house at 3171 Elm Place in Wantagh. Since then, the community has done a tremendous amount of work and research to support the application. At the third hearing in January 5th, it was decided that the home be recommended to the town board for historical landmark status. Now, I was just going to give a very, very brief comment here. I do have a longer one, but it is under 3 minutes because I would like to address the fact that according to the lawyer who just spoke, there's no historical significance to the home. All the research done on the house, I wondered how did it compare to the other landmarked homes in the town of Hempstead? Of course, there are many styles of architecture, as we know. The house on Elm Place is a fine example of colonial revival period, and also many of the landmarked homes have had features of the architecture replaced, and it is easily reversed to the original situation of the home. Some homes were landmarked for historical as well as architectural value, of course. Solomon Southard of the Southard House in Belmore was a signer of the Declaration of Long Island in the 1700s. Gladys and Mildred Verity, who owned and lived in the house for 12 years, were his direct descendants. Some homes were landmarked for more recent contributions. Elsie Geishen, who owned Geishen Manor and raised prize-winning calico and Siamese cats and was featured on several magazine covers, was also recognized as a dedicated member of the Oceanside community. The Verity sisters, too, were involved and important members of their Wantagh community. Peter Herman of the Herman House in Franklin Square was a prosperous businessman and community leader. He sold farming supplies over a wide area. Charles Frisch of the Frisch House in Belmore was a local developer and entrepreneur with roots tied to the development of Belmore. And the Motts of the Schonlein Mott House in Franklin Square built many of the original homes in the area. So too did H. Van Tile in Wantagh. The Cox and Van Tile Lumber Company.
Oh, okay, you hit the alarm, and I just want to let you know, we are very grateful for your passion and your comments on the subject. And as you heard, Paul from the commission spoke before, and I know he's very passionate about it too. And I just want to say, you hit the timer, but I didn't want to be rude to you. But I just want to thank you on behalf of everybody. And Councilman Carini, I know, wanted to make a remark to you as well.
Thank you for all your efforts. I mean, Wantagh went above and beyond with their research. I know the Preservation Society, all the residents contacting my office, sending me all the documentations. I do appreciate all the effort you did, so thank you. You should be very proud of the work that you've done.
Okay. Mr. Moderator, in the GoToWebinar, is there anybody else?
Supervisor, there are no other participants who clicked raise your hands on this public hearing.
I know, but I will tell everybody we had another check-in here from another person who is in attendance here. If you could please come on up and give your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'll be very brief. My name is Tom Watson.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, I live on 1904 Jones Avenue North in Wantagh, and I'm the president of the Wantagh Preservation Society. The lawyer for the developer previously and this time has stated, like, the Wantagh Preservation Society didn't know anything about the historic significance of the house, yada, yada, yada. I just want to say that Wantagh Historical Society, or Wantagh Preservation Society, does not know every fact about every single thing in Wantagh. And so we're very grateful to the residents of Wantagh who did the heavy lifting with this application and put together the historical report, okay? And I just want to mention one thing about the historical significance. I don't think it was mentioned about the Van Tile's aviation careers. So both men, the father and son, the father is on the World War I Memorial in Wantaw, and the son is on the World War II Memorial in Wantaw. And the son died in World War II. He was a commander of a B-24 bomber, so he, gave his life to the service of his country. So the lawyer was sort of poo-pooing the historical significance of the home, but he didn't mention those two facts. So I wanted to get that on the record.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming out tonight, and thank you very much for your passion for preservation. It's really important, and we appreciate working so closely with the commission too. Paul, I know Paul and the commission they're gems. We're lucky to have them, and I know they've enjoyed working with you. So thank you again.
The Preservation Society appreciates the support of the board, and that's why there's more Town of Hempstead landmarks in Wantaw than any other town in the township, by far, not just by one or two. We have this will be the 15th.
That's awesome. Thank you very, very much, and stick around. You can watch the vote. We'll see how it goes. Okay.
All right.
Thanks again for your efforts, because I went through that whole report. It's a very comprehensive report, and once again, the Wantaw Preservation Society did their research, and I just want to say thank you.
We helped with that report, and why I'm so proud is it was the residents that did the heavy lifting and the research and put that report together. So the Wantaw Preservation Society assisted them, but I don't want to take full credit because it was the residents who really did the work.
Very thoughtful to make that addition. So thank you very much, and all the residents that gave you the assistance. It's very thoughtful to say that to them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, there's anybody else, Patrick? Okay, if not, may I please have or does anybody wish to be heard on this before we vote? Chris, anybody?
A new participant joined who's clicked raise their hand, Mr. J. Miller. Mr. Miller, please go ahead with your comment.
Mr. Miller?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great, Mr. Miller.
Hi, how are you? I am the realtor that sold the house to the current homeowners on behalf of the Motchwiller estate. I just wanted on the record that this property was shopped out by multiple brokers across Long Island to multiple buyers, investors, end users of all types. The current homeowners of the property offered the highest price out of everyone, with the understanding that it was a by right subdivision, and with the understanding the Motchwillers, who were 8 siblings living there longer than anyone else, I think, and had the most sentimental value in the home, with the understanding they were selling it to the top bidder, who was going to most likely knock the house down in order to build 2 new homes to make the amount they were paying even feasible, economically feasible. I'd also like it on the record that this house was already subdivided in 1992 by Michael Motchwiller, one of the 8 siblings. A new house was built there, which I myself subsequently listed and sold back in 2017, I believe. No one raised any objections that this house was some landmark at the time in 1992. No one tried to landmark the home. The property was successfully subdivided by right, since it was even bigger when it was originally constructed, the property. No one raised any landmark objections then. The property was subdivided, new home was built, subsequently sold in the more recent years. And now all of a sudden, there's a landmark case against the house that was never an issue in the past when that property was oversized, subdivided with a new house built there. And I just want it completely clear that the Motchwillers were aware that this property house, which they lived in for, I think, close to 30 years, owned for close to 30 years, was going to be knocked down, and they were the ones with the most skin in the game, as you'd say, and they were okay with that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. All right, that's all for having the go to webinar, and that's all I have for the move-in. So why don't we now have a motion?
I move the public hearing be closed and the item adopted.
Second.
Supervisor Clavin?
I move to adopt.
Councilman Blakeman?
Aye.
Councilman Carini?
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito?
Aye.
Councilman Dunn?
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby?
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella?
Aye. Okay, I'm going to now remind everybody the GoToWebinar portion of the meeting is shut down. So if you want to continue to watch, please go to the live streaming right at the town webpage. With that, we will now move on to the administrative calendar. Madam Clerk, would you please call the administrative calendar?
The administrative calendar has items 6 through 70 on that calendar.
Okay. Does any member of the board wish to be heard on any of the items on the administrative calendar? Okay. I have a couple of slips in here who are people who are in person. First person we're going to introduce tonight is Felix Procacci. If you please give your name and address for the record, sir.
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square.
Thank you.
On the personnel issues, there's a new administrative assistant for the supervisor's department. Is this going to be a new employee or an addition, or is this replacing an existing employee? And if it's replacing it, who is he replacing?
You know, unfortunately, Mr. Procacci, I don't know if you were well aware that during the early stages of this pandemic, one of my top administrators passed away. No, that's okay. You know, as I said, yeah, I know. Dr. Gates was a great guy. Hempstead was a wonderful, wonderful, clergy member, a good friend, and it's someone coming in to, take that portion of it. So there's been no addition at all to the budget or any costs associated with it. But there was the vacancy, and that's to fill that vacancy.
Okay. Thank
all right.
you.
Thank you very much. Next, I have a Steve Dalton. Hi. Good evening. If you give your name and address for the record.
Sure. Steve Dalton, Levittown, New York. Good evening, Supervisor Clavin, members of the Town Board. I want to thank you for having these public sessions. I'm here to speak on the CARES Act funding. I am really delighted as a person who's been on the Levittown Library Board for 12 years and someone who was on the National Library System Board for a decade to see that the Town of Hempstead Town Board is going to be supporting libraries with CARES Act funding. I think probably each member of the Town Board in one way or another has had events hosted at the libraries throughout the Town of Hempstead, and obviously this pandemic has hit libraries like all municipalities very hard, and it's clear that this town board cares about libraries, and so we just want to thank you. The process for the application and the distribution of the funds has been fair and transparent, and it's because of the leadership of each of the members of the town board, obviously from Supervisor Clavin on down. I think you're going to hear from one of our cheerful library directors, Jess Koenig from Island Park, in a second, so I won't take up any more of your time. Thank you very much, and thank you for supporting libraries.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. I think, I know I could speak for myself as well as the board members. Our libraries are such a great institution. I've utilized the space from Levittown to Peninsula and everybody in between with all the meetings and tax forums you've held over the years. That you do a tremendous job, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of any of the board members when I say we're glad to give a helping hand. We've tried to do that, and we appreciate your devotion and your passion for your institution, as well as all of those in the library service. You do great work for the communities, and I'll tell you, you're a leader in that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next, I have now. I think it's Jessica Koenig, but they left off the K on my spelling. So I'm glad you're shaking your head. I think I got this right. If you would please give your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Jessica Koenig from Levittown, New York. I'm the director of the Island Park Public Library, and I wanted to thank the board, thank you Supervisor Clavin for this allocation. I'm speaking on behalf of our Board of Trustees, and I think it's also safe to say that I'm speaking on behalf of all the other libraries in the town of Hempstead also. We appreciate very much your recognition of what the libraries have been doing this past year to make our facilities safe for our employees and for our patrons to come in. I think that's all I have to say. Just thank you so much. Oh, and thank you as well for the PPE donations. All of the libraries have appreciated that very much, and whenever we give a mask to a patron who either doesn't have one or their mask seems to be falling apart, we always tell them that this is donation from the town of Hempstead. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your leadership at the facility. Again, another always a group. Go down there. My tax forms are friendly day or night. But you know what? We're all of us are so happy to team up with all of you. And as Councilman D'Esposito's hometown, did you want anything?
Yeah, Jessica, I just wanted to say thank you as well to you, to the board. I spoke to Ellen earlier today, and I just, all of you, through all you've done, whether it was during Sandy, now during this pandemic, you guys really have been on the front lines of the community, opening the doors, making things possible, and making sure that those that are in need in the community, whether it's our children or our senior citizens or anybody in between, has a place where they can come in and be comfortable. And I'm thankful that I share colleagues that believe in supporting our libraries and are not here to make this CARES funding political, but to make sure that we look out and support those institutions in our community that really do the right thing. So thank you very much.
And by the way, thank you for being so diligent. You were great. So we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Don't say that at all. You were not a nudge. You were, listen, you know what? I understand. We all understand the importance of it, and every dollar totally mattered. So you know what? I know you were dealing with a lot of the personnel, and they really enjoyed working with you. So thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
All right. Safe ride home tonight, okay? All right. I do not have any other slips for in person here. Patrick? Okay. Then let's see. I guess may I have a motion on the administrative calendar in its entirety?
Yes, I move we adopt the administrative calendar in its entirety.
Second.
Entirely.
Yes, ma'am.
Entirely.
I second that.
Supervisor Clayton.
I'm delighted to vote aye on this, and thank again everybody in the town board. We're doing a lot of great things together. So thank you all.
Councilman Blakeman. Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito.
Before I vote, just to add on to my comments to Ms. Koenig, I again want to thank the board and Supervisor Clavin for his leadership in the distribution of this CARES funding. Although we've been criticized, it is clear that the message of this board is to do the right thing with the CARES funding. Just today, in my councilmanic district, the Island Park Library, the Peninsula Library that Councilman Blakeman and I share, the Baldwin Library that's shared by Councilman Carini, Senior Councilwoman Gooseby and I, the Rockville Center Library, the Village of Cedarhurst, and the Village of Island Park, all recipients of CARES funding. And it's much needed funds that are helping these institutions in our communities to move forward in this pandemic. So to everybody on this board and to Supervisor Clavin, thank you. I proudly vote aye.
Councilman Dunn.
By the way, I'd like to let you know I have received many calls today from some of the residents in my community who are very, very excited about the fact that we're going to have a mobile unit coming through this community and all over. So that the residents are very excited by that, and I most certainly am. So I want to thank all of my town board members and you, Mr. Clavin, for doing such a wonderful job and make sure that we are getting what we need for the residents in our communities.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and we both know you should just call me Donald.
Okay, Donald.
You should have heard what she called you last week.
Councilman Dunn.
Dennis, your vote?
My vote. I want to thank Steve Dalton for appearing today on this very important issue representing the Levittown Library, and I'm very happy to vote yes on the entire administrative calendar in its entirety.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Councilman Muscarella.
Yes.
Well, that ends the formal portion of our program. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, you're so quick on that.
Supervisor Clavin.
Aye.
Councilman Blakeman. Aye. Councilman Carini.
Aye.
Councilman D'Esposito. Aye. Councilman Dunn.
Aye.
Senior Councilwoman Gooseby.
Aye.
Councilman Muscarella.
Aye.
Okay, now that ends the formal portion of our town board.
I move that we adjourn.
We already moved. You voted for adjournment.
I did already?
You just did. That's how excited you are. All right, well, hold on, Councilwoman, because that ends the formal portion of our program, but the town board's going to remain with you to hear the comments of the residents, okay?
Okay.
All right, so with that, I have a couple of people that came in tonight. We'll start with a Stu Kroll. Okay. If you please give your name and address for the record.
Stu Kroll, Great Neck. Before I start, I'll very quickly just give a quick shout out to the 2 police officers that jumped into the water, I believe in Long Beach, to save 2 dogs, which they managed to successfully do.
That's great. I didn't hear that. Good. That's awesome.
So, as we dig out from under a serious snowstorm, I feel great empathy for the many cats and kittens that, through no fault of their own, were forced to desperately seek shelter in an attempt to survive the elements. They are undergoing great suffering, which has been brought about by the failure of this administration to do the job that the taxpayers have entrusted a $5.5 million budget to. Due to a very limited amount of animals in the shelter, vetting expenses would have to have declined significantly, as would food expenses. By a remarkably lucky twist of fate for the town, this additional revenue, no doubt highly significant, is going back into the general fund where it can be spent as you like. By the way, I would be interested in personally seeing the amount of animals at the shelter. I have been vaccinated, but I'm sure that it'll still be considered too dangerous, for me to go to the shelter. Speaking of risk, it is interesting, Mr. Clavin, that you advocated for the return of high-risk contact sports in high schools, such as wrestling and basketball. Many districts seem to have gone along with this proposal. Is it not likely that people exercising vigorously in very close physical contact are at high risk of transmitting COVID? This seems somewhat incongruous with your stated position that dropping off cats at the town shelter, where there is virtually no contact, poses a risk to your employees. You contracted out this proposal to Central Vet. Is there not a risk for their employees? Do you not care about their employees and their safety? They are fixing a very small number of cats that were being fixed compared to the amount fixed at the town shelter. This is why there are cats outside now, multiplying at a geometric rate. The town of North Hempstead is continuing to fix cats in a responsible manner with very little contact. Why is it safe for them to do so? I know Judy Bosworth, and I certainly believe that she is very concerned about the safety of her employees. Every other facility that does spay-neuter in the tri-state area, to the best of my knowledge, has been operating for quite some time now. If it is the town doctor that advises not reopening, perhaps we could get his opinion on your having a fundraiser for 200 people outside when the state limit was 50. What would the doctor say about your taking a picture with 10 people with no one wearing a mask or social distancing? Incidentally, why are the attendees for board meetings not allowed into the main room, while tax seminars with the public apparently are allowed in here? It's very disturbing, Mr. Clavin, on many levels that you've been taking away the rights of the public to participate remotely in these meetings. Do these citizens not have the right to communicate with their elected representatives? How can any interested party not be allowed to speak on public comment on the call-in app? They are allowed to speak, however, on the moving of a stop sign. How disingenuous. Individuals such as stay-at-home mothers or disabled citizens can no longer have their emails read into the record. A petition with 50,000 signatures advocating the reinstitution of the town program was summarily dismissed. There is clearly no earthly reason why the shelter should not be opened. To paraphrase Joe Pesci in My Cousin Vinny, perhaps the laws of physics do not apply here. Is it more dangerous?
Thank you, Mr. Kroll. And first off, obviously, Mr. Kroll, you aren't aware that we announced that effective February 9th, we're reopening the TNR program under COVID guidelines under the advice of our doctor. So obviously you must not be aware of that, but that's okay. Also, I just want to no, Mr. Kroll, you spoke. We gave you 3 minutes. The other thing I just want to let you know regarding the seminars, I hope you realize that to attend one of those tax seminars run by Receiver of Taxes, you actually have to pre-register because we limit the size of the people in the room. That's why she's doing like 30 to 40 of these. So even at those, there are safeguards. But you should, it's on the town website. You should check it out. We are announcing that. So I know, and I'm sure you're happy about that.
Is it opening at the town shelter?
Yeah, I just said to you, if you go to the town, we announce this. It's on the town website. No, Mr. Kroll, again. We've announced we're reopening it at the town at the town shelter. Okay, well, I'm saying, and I appreciate it. Obviously, you should just check it out, the town website. Safe ride back up to Great Neck. We appreciate you always visiting us.
And I want to point out as well, too, I know you mentioned 2 cops that made the save earlier today. It was actually 1 cop from Long Beach, and one was one of the assistant chiefs from Long Beach, Jake Jacoby, who is also a part-time employee of the town of Hempstead Conservation and Waterways. So a great job done by them.
Did a great job.
Yeah, good chat on that. So take care. Safe ride home tonight. Next, we have a Claudia Kamen. Ms. Kamen, if you give your name and address for the record.
I'm Claudia, and I am from the town of Babylon.
Okay, welcome to Hempstead.
Hi, guys. Good evening. I'm actually here because of the TNR program. I'm very happy to hear that it's reopening, but I just want to reinforce that it's actually very safe to do contactless TNR. I actually brought with me today my student volunteers from Hempstead, as well as somebody who works in Farmingdale Dog and Cat Clinic and is hands-on with these animals. I also compiled a list of everything that is more dangerous to do and provides more of a transmission rate, which includes reopening the schools, gyms, restaurants, and just to make it clear, and I want this on public record, Cuomo deemed the spaying and neutering of companion animals essential in March of 2020. This program should have been opened last year. There's no excuse, and I really hope that you work and make sure that you pick up the slack, because you're going to have a huge boom of kittens in the spring of 2021, and it's going to be very scary. I don't need all 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Safe ride back to Babylon.
Thank you, and I hope you enjoy hearing from my students.
Okay, thank you. The next I'm going to ask to come up is Kyla Albers. We're going to ask the mic to be wiped down first, and thank you very much for doing that. You're doing a great job. Hi, hold on a second. If you come on up and give your name and address for the record, that would be great.
Hi, my name is Kayla, and
I'm sorry, Kayla, I said Kyla. My apologies first off. Kayla, how you doing?
no issue. I go to Hofstra, so my address would be 340 Hofstra Boulevard.
Do you live there full time?
Not full time, no. I'm in Massachusetts normally.
Oh, so you're a Massachusetts resident?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm speaking on the behalf of our TNR program for the TLC Campus Cats Initiative. I'm the president of that club. And I just wanted to reiterate what Claudia said before me, that the TNR program is very essential to not only the cats, but the students of Hofstra and the safety of all the cats. And it's very contactless. We barely come in contact with people, and it should have been opened last year and should be reopened before April this year.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
February 9th, right?
Just so you know, it is opening February 9th. Next, I have Felix Bercacci. Good evening again, Mr. Bercacci. Your name and address for the record?
Felix Procacci, Franklin Square.
Thanks.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic began, Don Clavin has used COVID-19 as an excuse to silence the public and to get rid of programs at the town's animal shelter. Clavin's claim that these COVID-19 policies are to ensure the health of employees is a lie. Clavin's behavior proves this because even Don Clavin doesn't follow his own COVID-19 protocols. Residents have been forced to watch the town board meetings on a monitor while sitting in the lobby on chairs spaced 8 feet apart, while Clavin allows Jeannie Driscoll to hold in-person town forums in the town pavilion. Last week, after the January 25th town board meeting, Don Clavin, along with town employees, gathered in the same lobby, which is indoors, spaced less than 2 feet apart, with Clavin not wearing a mask, in order to do a press conference and take pictures. Residents need to understand, no matter the words that come out of Clavin's mouth, Clavin's primary focus is his own popularity. How else can anyone explain why Clavin requires residents to sit 8 feet apart in the town's lobby, but has no problem holding a press conference in that same lobby with town employees he claims to care so much about standing only 2 feet apart? How else can anyone explain why over 50%, $69 million of the town's federal CARES money is sitting in bank accounts instead of being used to help residents in need? Clavin makes a big deal about the money he has given out, never telling residents that most of the money hasn't been spent and he has no intention of spending it. That is why a credit agency cited this additional cash in their analysis. Clavin and board members' answer to questions about town spending of federal CARES money is to tell residents to ask someone else, to ask Nassau County how they spent their CARES money, as if misspending by another government agency gives them the right to misspend money provided to them. I didn't tolerate that type of answer when my children were young. I don't tolerate it now.
Are you aware?
And town residents should not tolerate this child behavior.
I just want to interrupt you for 1 second. Excuse me, Mr. Procacci. Are you aware that the federal government has billions and billions of dollars in unspent funds under the CARES Act because the federal government says that they are being very judicious in the way that they're handing out the money to make sure that it goes to the right people and the right institutions, and we're doing the same thing here in the town of Hempstead.
I didn't tolerate that type of answer when my children were young. I don't tolerate it now, and town residents should not tolerate this childish behavior from their town representatives. The town's shelter and volunteer programs can be implemented with no contact and greater social distancing than Don Clavin's press conferences and fundraisers, yet these programs, which actually do some good for residents, are banned by Don Clavin, while Don Clavin's popularity programs, which violate the town's own COVID-19 protocols, are allowed. And I'm glad the TNR program will be opening soon. And one more thing, can Mr. Nocella tell me if he received my ethics inquiry and when he plans to respond to it?
I will take that under advisement. I'll have the town attorney reach out or give a response. Thank you
so much.
Thank you for taking the time to come. Safe ride home, and thank you for recognizing the bond upgrade. It was great news. Really excited. Next, I'm going to call up Alicia Gravsey. Hi, how you doing? We're going to get your name and address for the record.
My name's Alicia Gavsey, and I'm a resident of New Jersey, but I currently dorm at Hofstra University.
Okay.
I am also here on behalf of the TNR program. In addition to being a Hofstra student, I am the vice president of the Tender Loving Cats Campus Cat Initiative. TNR is a crucial part of taking care of all the cats on campus. Not only is it important to help control the population, but to prevent accidental kittens and inbreeding. Inbreeding is a new issue that has appeared on campus this year. In the beginning of November, we received word from faculty members that there was a two-legged kitten roaming around one of the dorms. Our advisor, Claudia, our president, Kayla, and myself spent the next 3 days searching for this kitten. We were in thorny bushes, broken branches, and a rainstorm. In the end, we rescued 3 kittens, 2 of which were from the same litter. These 2 were Josie and JC, and they were both a result of inbreeding. Because of this, both kittens were born with genetic issues. Josie was only born with her 2 front legs, but luckily had no other medical issues. Josie, however, was born with a deformed rib cage that put pressure on both her heart and lungs. After attempting to plan reconstructive surgery, we knew there was too many unknowns, and she sadly had to be put down. These cats and kittens are not just a part of Hofstra, but a part of Hempstead. In addition to inbreeding, many people continue to dump their cats, both fixed and not, which is continuing to add to the problem. Having TNR clinics will allow us to prevent more incidences like Josie and JC and protect all of the cats on campus, whether they were dumped or not.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as you know, I don't know why you know that we announced the TNR's program is coming up. And I think it was Claudia had actually spoken last month about doing something at Hofstra, and I did reach out to Dean Rabinowitz, or President Rabinowitz personally, and he said he was of the mindset he wanted to wait until April and May, minding the pandemic. But we appreciate you coming here tonight, and we appreciate your passion, and hopefully, when the school feels it's very comfortable to team up, we're going to do a nice little program over there. But thank you very much.
Hopefully that can happen before April when all the kittens are.
But like I said, I don't control Hofstra, and when I called the president because someone had indicated they had spoken to him, I did speak to him directly, and he and I talk almost on a weekly basis. And I think the dream really is everyone's vaccinated so everything can go back to normal. But thank you very much for coming out here tonight, and a safe ride home, okay? All right, take care. Bye-bye. Next, we have a Maria Angal. Oh, give a second. He's wiping that all down there. Thank you. Your name and address for the record, please?
Oceanside.
Okay.
I've been here regularly after my cat was seized and repossessed by the town of Hempstead. Tomorrow it will be a year since she was stolen from me. I have obtained proof that she was adopted behind my back at town of Hempstead animal shelter in Wanta. I have obtained additional FOIL documents which are downright fraudulent. I have no shame. On the same page, there are documents purported to be those that I requested, when in fact They are a compilation of 2019 activity, 2021 activity, and then 2020 activity, totally out of sequence. So the more documents I request, the more I become aware of the fraudulent alteration of these documents. My question is, where is my cat?
Ms. Engel, I think at this point I can say the position of the town is that they didn't have the cat. We've exhausted all levels of communication, all research. If you want to seek some sort of recourse outside the realm of the town board, that's your own choice, but it's the town's position based on everything that we've done in due diligence. We didn't have the cat. It's unfortunate that you think we did. You know what? We really did try and assist, but I would tell you, if you're seeking any other recourse at this action, the position of the town is we didn't have the cat. Again, I know you say what you have. If you'd like to seek any other recourse and any other option, that's your choice as a citizen, and you know, and you should pursue that. But it's the town's position.
Except you have to address the fraudulent documents. You can't just say, go hire an attorney. I provided.
No, I didn't say go hire an attorney. I respectfully said there are different levels of recourse. We've exhausted it. We've given the meetings. We've done the research. Councilman Diaz-Bazito's tried to, and I'm just saying,
not true. You have not done anything.
It's just the town's position. We never had the cat to begin with.
I have proof that she was there.
Thank you, Councilman.
So you're ignoring me.
No one's ignoring you.
Ma'am, we haven't ignored you for the 5 months that you've been here, and it's gotten to the point where the town clerk has met with you on numerous occasions to review your foils. The council to the supervisor has met with you on numerous occasions. Can I finish? You spoke. Let me finish. We tried to set up a Zoom conference call. That didn't work out. We tried to set up other calls. We tried to set up meetings. There's no answer that we can give you that is going to be sufficient for you. So at this point, I have to agree with the supervisor that if you need to take legal action in some other way towards the town, I believe you're at that point. If not, I'm sure I could have the Commissioner of General Services arrange a special meeting for you at the shelter, and perhaps you could find a new forever friend to bring home to you.
I want a meeting, yes. I wanted the meeting.
Oh, okay. So I could set up to have you look at the cats that are in the cattery whenever you're available.
With Mr. Pastore, who has the documents, who disclosed the documents, and
Ma'am, we don't have the cat.
You don't have, and maybe he.
No, I definitely don't have it, but the shelter doesn't have it either.
No more, because they put her up for adoption, and I have proof that she was put up for adoption. I'm not saying that she is there. She was there at some point.
Ms. Engel, it's the town's position. We never had the cat.
It's not the town's position. It is your. I mean, there's no substance.
Okay.
Based on what do you say that?
It's based on everything that we've reviewed over the last 6 months. Again, we've put resources towards this. The town clerk, the town attorney, the supervisor's office, the town board, general services, the animal shelter. Everyone has put and I'm not getting upset. I'm just trying to come to some sort of an agreement here. Everything that we know, everything that we have in regards to this cat, you have. Nothing is going to change. Listen, this is democracy. You can, and you're welcome to be at every meeting from now until eternity. But every time that you come and speak, nothing is going to change. And I honestly, I have tried to help. I've tried to explain. I don't know what else to say. And I know that you come here each meeting looking for an answer. We don't have the answers, and everyone has explained that to you.
Allow me to meet with Mr. Pastore.
Again, we appreciate it.
No, allow me to meet with Mr. Pastore. I have proof that the cat was seized and was adopted at the shelter. So you never address that. You keep shutting me up. Give me an opportunity to be heard meaningfully.
Again, we've respectfully exhausted so many meetings. You have other options you can pursue. The town's position is we never got the cat. It's not going to change. Thank you so much.
The town did. The town of Hempstead Animal Shelter did. You didn't. So your answer is meaningless.
Okay.
No, I mean, make a meeting that is meaningful. Allow it.
We just heard from 5 or 6 people that are complaining that we're not taking cats at the animal shelter. Now you're saying that we kidnapped your cat and kept your cat?
I have proof.
Okay.
I have proof, yes.
Look through it, and believe me, all of us on the town.
No, you did not. Otherwise, it would have shocked you. No, you did not look through it. You ignored it. You just give me conclusions. You never addressed why my cat appeared on 2/15/2020 at what time was it? At 2:45. I'm sorry, 2:47. How did she get there? And she was at the adoption center, and she was assigned adoption numbers. How did this happen? You never addressed that. Allow me to meet with Mr. Pastore.
Thank you again. We appreciate it.
Can I meet with him?
Have a wonderful evening, and more importantly, a safe ride home. It's going to be a
Can
little
I meet
slippery
with
out there.
Mr.
Thank you so
Pastore?
much. Next, we're going to call up, thank you, Diane Madden.
You see, there's.
Thank you very much.
And I
Thank you.
I have frozen
Appreciate it. Drive home safely. Thank you. Good evening. Name and address for the record, Ms. Madden, please.
Diane Madden, Hempstead. Councilman D'Esposito, I would never encourage anyone to file a lawsuit against the shelter. I personally know about injury lawsuits, and I saw pictures, and that would be the last thing I would do, to encourage people to file a lawsuit that taxpayers end up paying for.
I'm not encouraging it. What I'm saying is if we're out of options, then that's our
Somebody stop
only
the clock,
option.
please.
That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not encouraging litigation. I'm simply saying I don't have any more answers.
Well, she is convinced that the shelter received that cat.
Okay? And like I said,
The bond upgrade, Supervisor Clavin, that you mentioned as soon as Felix walked away from the microphone, you are actually more passive-aggressive than Tony Santino. And I would just like to know, that bond upgrade, do you talk about that? Is that a result of the $70 million deposited into the town's fund? Is that why that upgrade came to be?
Actually, if you read the bond ratings upgrade report, it actually said it was a multiple of factors between conservative budgeting, great administration, use of some of the funds, but it's actually cumulative over the last couple of administrations, so it's not just the funds at all. But again, thank you for recognizing the bond upgrade. We're really excited about that.
No, what I recognize
because we saved
is
a lot of money.
that it appears that you deposited that money, and that's how you ended up with a bond upgrade.
Again, if you read the report, actually, it's to the contrary.
I did, and I
Okay.
still came to the same conclusion.
Okay.
You forget that about 4 to 6 months ago, that the rating agencies improved the outlook for the town of Hempstead, and this is just a result. They improved the outlook before any money was ever given to the town of Hempstead, and now they're saying that the plan that the supervisor and this town board implemented with respect to the budget is a good budget. It's one of the best budgets in the state of New York, and that's why we are one of the few municipalities to have that high of a bond rating.
So let me ask you this, because it certainly created Councilman Carini to lose his temper at the last meeting. That money, is it going to be used for payroll at all, the CARES money?
We've used it for numerous things. We made sure we put it all on the calendar so everybody could see. In fact, we're using it tonight. We're reimbursing libraries tens of thousands of dollars for their expenses. So
Right,
we've used,
I understand that,
2 weeks ago,
but I'm asking.
no, you asked. I'm giving you your answer. We've utilized it for numerous expenses, and the drawdowns that were allowed permissible by the federal guidelines.
And I'm wondering, is that for payroll? I know employees are on an AB schedule. Do you intend to pay for that through the CARES fund?
Ms. Madden, please. You know, I don't understand how you're saying that we're going to use AB schedule that we're dealing with right now during a pandemic when these expenses were drawn down last year. I know you're trying. I recognize.
A legitimate question.
The drawdown's been done already, Ms. Madden. So thank you. Anything else?
Yes, absolutely. February 9th, I'm glad to hear the TNR program is opening. It's a shame that we're just in the same place we were 6 months ago or 8 months ago when you closed it. Will it be operating to full capacity? They were taking in about 20 cats a day or more?
Actually, based on Dr. Dave's guidelines, it's unlimited. We're also running the outsourced one. I don't know if you realize this, but New York State has one of the highest COVID rates in the nation right now. We're just finishing up a spike. So Dr. Dave, under his tutelage and guidance, has helped implement a limited protocol-safe program, but we're also going to be using the outside agency to kind of run dual ones to try and assist in any way we can. And again, when we get to the point where hopefully everyone's vaccinated or it can be done fully in a safe manner, according to actually doctors, then we will do so. And by the way, I'll be delighted for that. I really will. But it is about safety of not only the co-workers here in the town, but of the patrons, and I'll always go with Dr. Dave's recommendations. He is a licensed physician.
I would like to hear from him for sure. I mean, I don't know any doctor that will allow anyone else to speak for him, but I look forward to what that plan is, because apparently I'm not getting any answers. Is it 1 cat a day, 10 cats a day?
It's been on the town website. You can go check it on the town website tonight when you leave here tonight. We've had it up there. You should take a look at it.
Actually, there are a few people that have texted me. They don't see it on the website. I don't know where.
Okay. Well, it's there, but it says, limited Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You can take a look at it when you go home tonight.
As far as the other programs, is there a plan in place for those at this point? The volunteer program, the free spay-neuter program for pit bulls?
Really, it all hinges on the doctor's recommendations and what the proper protocol and safety is. I mean, you're just, Ms. Madden, you just having the state reopen sports where you have a school district saying if the kids play sports, they can't even go to classes anymore. You just are leaving a time period where we're seeing an outrageous number of people who are hospitalized all over again. There is a pandemic going on, and we want to provide services, but we're going to do it in a meaningful, safe manner. And we have to all recognize that. Your passion, I always appreciate, but all these programs will be in due diligence.
But you'll stand in the other room at a press conference without a mask on. So, please, these programs that I'm asking to be re-implemented, I'm doing so certainly under safety guidelines. And I'm asking you if they'll be resumed as well. That's all.
When the doctor says we can do it, absolutely, just like the TNR program starts up February 9th under safety protocols.
Okay, and lastly, I am going to put on record once again that I'm asking the town board to consider opt-out for the community and taxpayers of mailers. I'm asking them to create a cashless process at the animal shelter. I'm wondering why H2M has not made that recommendation. I'm asking for a diversity consultant for the hiring process in this town, and also for virtual comment.
Please drive home
safely
virtual
comment.
tonight.
You as well.
Thank you so much, and thank you again for recognizing the upgrade. We are very, very proud of this, all of us together. Next, I'm going to ask a Stephanie, and the name is cut off, so I'm going to wait for you to come on over here after the wipe down there so I get the name proper. Stephanie, come on up. If you can give your name and full name for the, because it's a little cut off, and your address.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Stephanie, my address is 1145 Connecticut. I'm in Central Islip.
And your last name?
Natanacola.
Hi.
Hi. So I'm here on behalf of the TNR program. I'm speaking from both sides as a trapper, and I work in the vet industry. So I'm at Farmingdale Dog and Cat. We do a lot of TNR. And we do have contactless TNR services, which, is very safe. We do everything over the phone, like the client's info, payments over the phone. No one's allowed in the building. So it's really safe. And, we're trying to help as many people as we can, getting as many cats TNR'd as possible, but it's hard because, I've even talked to clients who've been talking about, they're Hempstead residents, they can't get their cats done at Hempstead, so I'm really happy to hear that
we've always had a program, and we outsourced it to another facility that could do it. So when people say, we didn't have the program, listen, it's just not accurate. But, under the protocol of Dr. Dave, you're doing it. You're doing, touchless. There are safety protocols, and I appreciate that. But I wanted you to know, we actually had the program, but we were outsourcing it to an agency, and now we're doing both of them, again, under the protocol.
Vet, and I just heard now that you reintroduced the program starting on February 9th, so
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that because we've been getting just bombarded with TNR and we just can't keep up. So I'm really happy to hear that.
I got you.
You've introduced that, and again, I'm just speaking on behalf of the cats, and I'm happy to hear that you reintroduced the program, and it's really important because these cats are just gonna this is the season,
Yep.
so.
Yep, no, we recognize that. Okay, all right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very, very much, and I appreciate, you're giving the feedback and the input, and I do appreciate all the words that you've spoken. So a safe ride home to you, more importantly, tonight, okay? All righty, bye-bye. I now have I'm going to wipe that down, a David Gutharts. Hi, you come on up there to the mic. If you give me a name and address for the record, that would be great.
I'd rather have a place to be able to sit because of my back. Unless you don't care about my back.
Actually, if you look behind you, they just put a chair behind you there.
Thank you. But then you won't be able to hear me on the mic.
Well, you can speak up. We can hear you. The mic picks up pretty good language.
Oh, no, that's way high.
There you go.
Bear with me here a second. Put my glasses so I can see. Okay. First things first, let me give you a quick little snippet with regards to the TNR. As somebody who runs a nonprofit organization that's a rescue, first of all, my name is David Goodharts from Oceanside, New York, lifelong resident of Oceanside. First of all, with TNR, this is not something which is pertains to any particular point of time. This is something that goes on 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So to shut down any programs, even during a pandemic, you're doing wrong. You're doing a disservice to the public out there. You're creating greater chance for a greater population of cats out there. Now, moving on to what I came down here for. First of all, Bruce. Yeah. Why is it that you don't bother returning phone calls when you're called upon, and then you pass me off like yesterday's garbage to somebody else? You passed up on the opportunity to deal with the situation, which is going back a few years, which should have been dealt with. Instead of having a little side conversation, pay attention.
You called my office when?
Oh, I called your office, let's see, I would say about a dozen times over the past several months.
Yes.
And you never bothered calling back. You had somebody else call back instead.
About what? Because I get my messages every day. So what did you call about?
This is with regards to what the town of Hempstead pulled under a different administration, where it was aggravated harassment, criminal trespass, vandalism, destruction of private property, anti-Semitism, malicious prosecution, fraud. Oh, and the biggie, we're talking about domestic terrorism by the town of Hempstead.
Domestic terrorism by the town of Hempstead?
Yes, domestic terrorism by the town of Hempstead.
I see many calls about domestic terrorism by the town of Hempstead.
Well, the thing is this, messages were left for you, you never bothered calling back. Plain and simple. You had an assistant call back once.
Called you back.
Yes, and I said to your assistant, tell Bruce that he's to call me back personally.
Who was my assistant?
I don't have his name on me. I didn't even pay attention to his name because I was passed off like yesterday's garbage.
Like I said, I think I've been sitting here for 5 years, and you're the first person that's come in and said that I don't return phone calls. So I apologize if that's true.
It is true, because I wouldn't say it otherwise.
I will check that out.
And the same thing applies to you, Don. You also aren't very good about returning phone calls. So instead, I have to be here. Don. Hey, Don, are you paying attention? Hello? Don, look in my direction instead of down at your papers. We could sit here all night until you start paying attention, Don. You will show me the respect that I am due. Your position doesn't earn you respect, you have to earn it from me. And it starts with, you look at me and you pay attention, not at your papers, not at your clipboard.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
No. I'm not done here.
I don't have any other public comments here, Patrick. Is there anything else?
Done.
Then I will say, everybody drive home safely, have a wonderful evening, and take care. Bye-bye.